Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, sir. Welcome to our video presentation PAD120. We are from AM110 from Group 4. For our PAD120 assignment is question number 1, which is discuss the scope of political science.
My name is Nurnamiha binti Abdurrahim. Introduction. The word city-state refers to polis, which is a political term derived from a Greek word. This in search of common goods, polite benevolence, and moral perfection are due to the existence of the polis or city, as this is the function of the city ancient ancient Greek. The term political science from the Oxford English Dictionary is a country that has an administration and organization related to science. Knowledge applied to political science means studying the structure and behavior of the physical world by making systematic studies through evidence, observation, and experimentation. Another meaning that is easy to understand is that the structure, behavior of the state and political institutions are studied systematically through science analysis. Political science is an empirical science where quantitative and qualitative data are collected in conducting research. Generalization will apply to the theory if the generalization becomes more assertive. This shows that the meaning of science is to gather knowledge about political studies. Definition of political science are very much interpreted by scholars with different meaning. What makes the state by truth? Historical research. What is the state truth? Analytical and ethical study of what should be the state is the definition of political science according to R.G. Stahl. In addition, the definition of political science according to Paul Janet is to discuss the policies of the state and the principle of governance in the part of social science. James Wilford Garner argued that political science is the state is the beginning and end of political science. The indicator that the main object of study in political science is the state according to these three scholars. Uh, Political science, according to Harold Laswell, is the study of society about change in the division of value patterns in society. Harold Laswell was convinced that the ability in making politics strong could create the expect effect on others. In politics about who get what, when, and how much is that definition of politics issues by Harold Laswell in the 1930s. For example, the taxation imposed by a democratic state on its citizens in the Second World War was created to raise money and resources for its use in solving the problem. This could see the number of resources that democratic states have accumulated increase. It can be seen here that the concept of who get what, when and how is a relevant definition of political science.
Public administration is actually the scope of political science that refers administrative activities of government, which is the implementation of government policy. It's using its methods of managing and administering government to achieve desired outcomes. The public administration objectives are to serve the public or people in the society because ownership is belonging to the government. Then, Ladder Hashkulit, 1892 until 1993, is the expert scholar on the public administration using postcode acronym principle, which is P for planning, O for organizing, S for staffing, D for directing, C for coordinating, R for reporting, and B for budgeting. There has three branches in the public administration. First, the executive branch to raise funds for growth of the country, to the collection of various taxes, fines, custom duties, and fees. Second, the legislative branch to make, change, and repeal laws, also formulate development, policy, and programs. Third, the judiciary branch to enforce and interpret the laws governing of the country. Public administration serves the people with providing several services. Then, the employees working under government are known as civil servants or public officials. Plus, other government can only be accessed by the public through the assistance of public administration program. Services are very important for the well-being of society. Example, educational service that require the recruitment of teachers who teach in public schools, so that such services can be provided to children to pursue knowledge. It can be expressed that indirectly giving benefit for both parties. Public administration also provides training to employees such as personal administrations, which is the division of human resources to deal with employees working for a governmental entity or related non-profit organizations. It is important because public personal administrations want to maintain effective and healthy working culture. Also to ensure public organization has enough and competent staff to perform the tasks of the particular organizations. Objective of public personnel administration in an organization is functional objective to maintain the personnel admin contribution at a level appropriate with organization needed. Then other objective of public personnel administration in an organization is personnel goals to assist employees in achieving their personnel goals. There has four roles that should be implemented in order for the organization to function smoothly. First, service functions that are more on planning in organizations. Second, coordinating functions that are more on organizing in an organization. Third, advisory functions that are more on leading or motivating. Fourth, control functions that are more on controlling.
My name is Nurul Afida Ismail. I will present to you about one of the scope of political science, which is political theory. What is political theory? Political theory could be a subfield of the reach of political science, exerting near other branches of political requests such as comparative legislative issue, universal relative and American legislative issue. Political theory is creating a purported talk about almost its comprehensive definition. There are a few C by scholarship in understanding the nature of the text. There is having to clarify the meaning of the key political ideas such as freedom, unity, equity, and other precious ways. There is having to be looked at the contention put forward by definition political think tank within the avocation in this concept. There are some of the scholars of the political theory such as Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli, Hobbes, Locke, and these canonical masterminds are the column of Western political logic and a few introduction to their experience in their basic for each political science major. So I will talk about the Plato first. The first one is Plato. For Plato, talking through scholarship, equity is inner as well as external. Each person inquiries away equity in their soul. The part is it utility reason to the culminated with the soul and control within the craving of our soul. Usually the same way of the city state agreed to Plato. And so on, consideration of equity exists for each person and state. Equity is the person widespread and perpetual concept. In Book 1 of the Republic, moreover, incorporate several other concepts of equity and is worth considering two of them. And then the justice here means offered by sublatus, power offered by Charamatus, and wisdom emerging from recent cultivation of moderating and coverage offered by Socrates. However, freedom is the undervalued concept in the Platonic political theory. In fact, in examining shape of the government, Socrates' character popular government as a political framework and the maximum person freedom developing more rounded over time. In the late arranged popular government, the fulfillment of each craving and creep lean to add up the lustfulness and social chaos in the Plato political theory. The next scholar is the Aristotle. A fundamental Aristotelian knowledge is that the definition of the thing and the reason of the one of the same. Reflect on the distinction between the fine and the perfect oak tree. We might add to begin with the respect this concept and the best of the perfect as one of the same. But for the Aristotle, the leading sign of something happened within the encounter of the living life in the fulfillment of a telos or purpose that take component of the material world. Apply a frame or blueprint to it and log in within the domain of the provision through activity to realize this last reason within the life involvement. For the Aristotle, the reason of the life involvement could be vital marker of the reality itself. Also, human reason is grounded in our social relationship between others. Watching the relationship between others is essential to get it what human created are and in the way that constitute their reason. The movement that administration this social relation is politics. Thus, living a political life for Aristotle is the most non-voluntary idea within the human encounter something we endeavor for and cherish. Opposite to Plato, Aristotle believed that truth will be achieved within the life involvement of human character and not only in the few unique dominant of the form. The refinement between logical insight and practical insight rests along with the line where Plato stated the acuity is the unchanged abstract perfect, which need a all-inclusive, unverified, and exact account. But for Aristotle, look for it to get the activity within the dominant of the encounter and the creed. So Plato and Aristotle is opposite which their knowledge and other definition of the political theory. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Nurfatin Fasisha binti Muhammad Firdaus Ramesh. My matrix number is 2020461022. I will continue the presentation about the scopes of political science. The next scope of political science is comparative politics and government. Comparative politics and government are one of the main scopes of political science, but it is the most critical and foundational. Its main objective is to figure out how government and politics work. Comparative politics and government are involved with the study of political action, both governmental and non-governmental. Comparative politics is an all-encompassing area, with experts defining it as the study of all political systems. Comparative politics focus on studies of the structure of the government, the system of the government, constitutions, political parties, political history and procedure of various government systems. Comparison has a lot to give, such as improving the basic definition of political structures and institutions, assisting us in understanding the wider context in which they operate, assisting us in developing ideas and laws of politics, and demonstrating how different cultures address common issues. Benefits of comparative politics and government. Firstly, it benefits people a better understanding of democracy and politics. By comparing the core aspects of political institutions, structures, and behavior, we can understand the dynamics and character of political regimes. We can make research on a particular country to know about their legislature, party structure, social movement, or national election. Understanding requires more than only learning about other political systems, but there is still the need to understand on our own. We may believe that by paying our attention carefully to domestic policy, we can have a strong understanding of how it functions. But the truth is, we cannot completely comprehend it without making a comparison with other systems. Secondly, it helps one to think from the environment that is unfamiliar to them. The development from other places of the world has a more direct effect on our life as globalization begins to intensify and extend our political, economic, and social link. We realize that we can no longer afford to disregard the foreign because the opportunity to view events beyond our boundaries has become important. That is why, by understanding how governments and politics work in other countries, it will help us understand the realities of political relationships. Thirdly, comparison allows one to make assumptions that will help to interpret the results of political events. It will support us in a better understanding of the possible outcomes of elections with a thorough study of campaigns and popular sentiment. If an interpretation is reliable and all related variables have been checked and considered, we can forecast with a total high degree of precision or with total certainty. However, social science has not produced as well as the physical and natural phenomena that produce a large series of regulations that help in forecasting. The number of cases we use will increase our knowledge we have about each case. There is still a lot more that we do not know. However, we can open a new horizon and new possibilities by reading more about the many ways in which democracy and politics can be found.
My name is Nur Izzati Fakih Hamida Asmin. My ID number is 2020888156. I will present about the last scope, which is international relation. This scope is talk about the relation between countries and states. For example, um, global market, the World Wide Web, and international travel stimulate an inflow of peoples, products, and ideas across national boundaries and international relationships that affect our lives on a daily basis. International relation is the analysis of state interactions with some subnational institutions such as bureaucracies, political parties, and also interest groups. International International relations in some academic contexts are a large and comprehensive area of studies which is a separate discipline from political science. Known as international study, international affairs area studies public affairs or global studies that reach interdisciplinary field of research with direct connection to other disciplines. The academic study of relation has historically been dominated by positivist inquiry, which aims to provide a descriptive and analytical view of our global environment, as well as the forces and relationships that form it. From a public policy perspective, international relations is normative that leading policymakers towards decisions that will improve the environment. Simply to say, public policy is a collection of guidelines for how executive bureaucracies carry out their work, and it determines what should be rather than what is in terms of state intervention. The complexity of international relations in the 21st century is reflected in exceptional economic integration, unparalleled challenges to peace and security, and global emphasis on human rights and environmental protection. So, with this study of international relations, it will focus to interdisciplinary research address anticipates and ultimately solve the public policy problems.
In conclusion, the scope of political science use has covered all aspects of the modern political economy of even the global political economy can function by making research and understanding through the scope of political science. The cover one range of topics and scholars have divided into 5 sub-disciplines: political theory, public policy, comparative policy, and international relations and public policy. Political science field of research has been greatly expanded because of evolution of political structure around the world. It is a field of the social science in which we analyze society, democracy, political philosophy, government and political structure, and the life of a politician. Foreign affairs, law and organization power, and the influence and the authority value elevate in the political science.